kids need space for discussion, for open discussion, where they can get really facts, examine themselves, be informed. And that is the purpose, objective of this. And by the way, Aware is not, we are against anti-discrimination.
I hope you all pop out your dinner.
I think we have to understand that the program was developed over a period of time, and there were tests, there were pilot workshops that were conducted where we invited parents and teachers and students to come to test out the system, and then it was moderated as it went along. And we have good feedback from teachers who have sat in at the workshops. But I'd like to speak as a mother myself. I have 2 children. They are now grown up. But it has always been difficult to talk about sex. I think that it's difficult to talk about sex to anyone. And as a mother, I'm really grateful that there's a package, there's a product out there that has been researched, and there are capable professional people who know what they are talking about, who are going to be introducing these things to my children. And words that have been picked up, I don't know if it was quoted, things like oral sex, anal sex, there's some objection to us using these terms. And I think that whether you like it or not, these terms are out there, and children are exposed to it. So it's much better that someone who knows how to deal with these terms are able to do it. And I looked through the program myself today. They're full of games that are really fun, and there's hardly anything in it that the mention of homosexuality is so minuscule compared to the whole package that I think is quite out of context. And
yeah, I'm from the Straits Times. I think at the last press conference, Dr. Teo Soon Mian actually said something like she's disappointed that Aware has deviated from its original intentions. Can we get Kanwaljit to respond to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Teo, when she was at press conference yesterday, she kept reiterating the fact that she was also very much a pioneer of feminism in Singapore, and that her friends started Aware. So I don't know what's your response to that.
Well, I'm not sure. I know who are the founder members of Aware, and I don't remember seeing Dr. Teo Soon Mian at any of our meetings, and I don't remember her name being mentioned by any of the founder members. But I'm not known for my good memory, so I'm happy to be corrected. So really and truly, I had not heard of Dr. Teo Soon Mian as being a feminist, so this was a little bit of a surprise to me, but then we always have closet feminists, so, and coming back to, I mean, as I said it earlier, when we started Aware, one of our main things was women's lives, women's choices. We even had a forum on that, and the National University of Singapore came out with a whole journal on that. We believed that it should be all inclusive. Nobody should be discriminated. Basically, it's about gender equality, women's empowerment, and inclusiveness. And although I have not been active in Aware for the last few years because I've been too busy setting up wings with other friends, I think as far as I know, Aware has not deviated from its original purposes. When you start an organization, it must evolve and it must respond to evolving needs. So Aware has tackled many issues, violence against women, about home migrant workers and single mothers. It has tackled many issues. So as far as I can see, I do not think it has deviated, and if it had been, it would have been incumbent upon me as a founder member to remind them gently of their guiding principles.
I think Ing, a founder member, would like to add to that.
I also do not recall, what's her name? Dr. Teo. Being at the early sessions that we had. I recall us having a very big public meeting at the Tangling CC, Cairnhill CC, where as founding members, we actually declared AWARE formed. We declared its objectives, our agenda. Some of us were very naive. I was a baby of the group at 30 at that time, or even 29. But I think one important thing to remember is that whenever a new committee assumes position in AWARE, it does declare what it wants to do. Of course, along the way, things may change, you may amend, you may adjust, but that's the process by which I think AWARE has evolved, a certain culture, if you like, and a certain tradition of doing things that enables both the newcomer who's interested to try out whether you are comfortable with the place, with the organization, and also for the older members to mentor the younger ones, as well as have build up trust and confidence in a working relationship in all the subcommittees that AWARE has formed. I also think that it is important to have an institutional memory of AWARE, of what AWARE did over the last 24 years, instead of allowing one particular item as raised by Dr. Teo to be the sole criteria on which AWARE is judged. And I think you have then to look at AWARE's 25-year record. Don't forget, this is a volunteer organization. This is not a corporation. We do not come in, hire and fire. Okay, that is not the style. We cannot say, oh well, if this corporation has been diluted in its objectives, come in, take over, hire a new CEO. We don't do that. The process by which in AWARE, the way we've done things is always, if you're interested, you want to make changes, you have suggestions, you want to learn, come in, work on a subcommittee for a few years, or at least a term or two, then we move on. If you don't like it, then you go away. If you like it, you may begin to assume positions of leadership. And I think it is important to understand how AWARE has built up its processes of finding leaders in its renewal for leadership. Every organization needs leadership renewal. And AWARE has its particular processes of leadership building as well as responsible followership, building that up as well. Thank you.
I think what's been happening over the last couple of days or weeks raises a much bigger question for Singapore society. I don't think it's just a women's issue, women's differing views. I think it is the whole issue of how civil society actors behave in Singapore. And I think that is the question that we must now ask ourselves. Is that the way we want civil society actors to behave? Or is it by persuasion and influence? Or is it by if I may say so, slightly stealthy takeover? Slightly stealthy takeover? I mean, is that the way we want civil society to behave? And that it should be, I don't think media should look at it as women fighting other women, cat fight. Sometimes it degenerates into that. And then we have had, suggestions that a mediator should come in. It's not a fight between, women. It is, first of all, civil society, how civil societies are responsible to be transparent, to be accountable. If you join a society, it must be because you empathize with the value of a society. From what I read in the papers, it was said that that AWARE has become a single society organization, and a single issue organization, and that single issue is homosexuality. Now, if the new members who join AWARE do not agree with that single issue as they claim we are, then they should not join that society, because when you join a society, you have to agree with at least some of the views of that society, and then you influence, you persuade, you change things, but you don't take over. You look at the marketplace of ideas, there's plenty of room to just start another organization, and then give your brand of advocacy, your brand of how you want society to be.